is going to get right into, is it going? Yes. So I guess we're going to get right into a how-to video or a tips and tricks or whatever you want to call it on the Pax-Port Kit. And this is the kit that has been requested for integrating into the Rotopax containers, whether it's diesel. I just happen to have my red container here, so that's what I'm using for this purpose. But I'm going to walk you through why we have it, how to put it together, and kind of the thought process on what we've done. And so if you're looking at this, you probably already have a diesel heater, or you're thinking of getting a diesel heater. And you can do this on your own, no doubt. You can go to one store and pick up some barb fittings, some tube. You'll be hard pressed to find a nice filtered pickup for it. And the Pax-Port we sell, so we tried to bring it all together as requested by you guys. So it's one stop, it's done in a nice package, 3D printed holder. I mean, didn't hold back with anything here. Just trying to give you a good high quality setup, give you what you pay for. So let's just go right into it. The Pax-Port Kit comes with first 36 inches of hose. And this is a fuel grade hose, great for diesel fuel. And it should be more than what you need, especially if you're going for the 3-gallon container, because ideally you want it to the bottom of the container itself. You don't want to coil up a whole bunch of tubing inside. But in case you're running on a 4-gallon packs, or you want to use this same kit in a jerry can, we tried to provide enough hose that you could do whatever you wanted with it. So that's where we got the 36-inch hose. We've got the Pax-Port adapter that's been out there from the beginning, and it's got the 1/4-inch NPT on one side and the 1/8-inch NPT on the other side. And that's part of the assembly. And then the barb fitting, obviously, just a simple barb fitting, 1/8 inch, goes in the backside. And then the strainer piece. This was kind of tricky to make, but to get the small size so it fits through the container, 200 mesh, it's a 200 by 200 mesh, which I want to say it's about 75 micron. So enough that you're going to stop all the small particulates, the sand, that type of stuff, but you're not going to plug up and starve the pump on your diesel heater, which I think is critical. You don't want to burn out your pump and your burner on your diesel heater. So we've got that guy and a little bit of Teflon to go with it. So the first thing you're going to do is take your Teflon, and it's always better to hold the Teflon in your right hand and the part you're wrapping in your left hand, because you want to put the Teflon in a fashion that you're tightening it around or threading it onto the part. So as you're threading it into your part, it's tightening the Teflon instead of loosening the Teflon. So we're just going to take and wrap it around, try not to make it too messy in a fashion of tightening. And you want, I don't know, 2 to 3 wraps, 3 to 4 wraps actually. Just take it off, and we're going to clean it up here later, but that threads down into your fitting. 7/16 wrench is what you use to tighten that on with, and a pair of a crescent wrench to grab onto the outside if you need to tighten her on down. I'm just going to go hand tight for right now. But then you'll take your tubing and you'll want to measure out to whatever length you're going to use inside your container. And I've talked about this already. I think you're best if you're standing straight up on your mount. I think you want it just to be right at the bottom. So I would take and trim that off right there so we get a good flat full extension of the hose down to the bottom. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to assemble it on the full length of tube. So you could take a couple of things. One, you could use a little bit of dish soap around the barb if you wanted, because it is a tight fit. A little Windex. I'm just going to use some muscle and just force it on there and just bottom it out. So you get a nice fit on that. And then we're going to take the strainer portion and we're just going to do the same. Nice tight barb connection. Being careful that you don't puncture anything through the strainer. 4 screws, they are replaceable. If you need to take it apart and clean it, you can do that. If you want to clean it, you don't want to take it apart, you can always just back flush it through this end. But we're going to take and slide it on. And this is without lubrication of some sort. It is tough to get on there, but you're on. And so now you would just drop that through your container. Obviously the tube is way long, and drop it down into there. It'll work with the black plastic collar that comes with the Rotopax, but I'm obviously going to recommend you bling it out a bit with our Pax collar. And this will show up on the website as our frequently bought items with this because it's a popular item. But the other thing I'm going to recommend is the backside is the aero vent. When you're pulling fluid out of this container, you're either going to have to leave this cracked. So as your heater draws the fluid out, it's got to replace that volume with something, and it's going to need to be air, obviously. And so if you don't leave this cracked or crack a vent to allow airflow back in, you're again going to starve your diesel heater of the fuel that it needs. So the aero vent is a good solution because you can just crack it and you're good to go. It'll let the air in. And so that aero vent is it's high on my recommended list for combining with the Pax-Port Kit. So that wraps it out. The Pax-Port Kit, the Pax collar, the aero vent. Thanks for the support. Thanks for checking out our stuff. We'll catch you guys later.